Hey everyone, welcome back to Gaming in the Keats. I'm your host Chris, and today I'm bringing you another Warhall game with my Demon Legions versus another Highborn Elf army. Um, someone from the um, someone from the forum had reached out to me and wanted to get in a game, and so yeah, by all means, if you're interested in getting in some games, regardless of where you are in the world, please hit me up. My handle on the forum is CHTAY001, or yeah, you can send me a message in the YouTube uh, comments as well. Just let me know. So with that, let's get into the lists. All right, the list I'm bringing today is again an experimentation for myself. I've been enjoying the Kalima's Deceiver so much that I brought two this time. One combat one, and then one more shooty one, I guess, or range damage one. Although they're still pretty juicy in combat. The first one is sort of the same build that I've been doing, which is the Curse of Lycanthropy, Trampling Hooves, Venom Sacs, and then Guiding Piercing Spike. So that's the combat one. And the other one I'm trying out is one with Mark of the Eternal Champion, Guiding Venom Sacs, Darkfire, and Hellish Larynx. So one goes in a big unit of Succubi, the combat one, with the -2 agility debuff, and the other goes into my Eidolons with All-Seeing Eye. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with the setup. I get 6 spells from it. And with Protean Magic, I think I can do the swap with each from what I've been reading on Protean Magic and then like the Magic Swap general rules, because you don't select a path. And so I think they ignore the normal one swap per caster, whatever it is. So basically, I just took, instead of Foresight on this one, I took Whispers and then Evil Eye. And then on this one, I had Smite the Unbeliever, and then I think I dropped this Whispers and also took another Evil Eye. So I'm doubling up on Evil Eye here. And then I have 2 Smite the Unbelievers as well with a Dance Macabre, which I like the little magical movement and Dying Blow on this unit here. It's kind of fun. But anyway, we got the 24 Succubi, just a small unit of 10 Succubi. I'm not sure how I'm liking this little unit, but we'll see. 10 Lemures with Centipede legs, and so they're actually there to support the Hope Harvester, just to give the Hope Harvester a little bit of extra movement for the Warp Fire battery, or well, whatever it's called, like the Aether battery, just giving them a little bit more range. We got 6 Hoarders, a big chonky unit with Chitin Scales, 3 Threshing Engines with a Standard Bearer, and then 5 Hellhounds just to get in the way and die for the cause. So for my opponent's list, he's got an Asford Scholar Mage on Cosmology, so it's very, very strong there with the Mimic Cloak, and he's got another one with a Gleaming Robe, who's an Adept this time, so Living Steel, Corruption of Tin, Molten Copper, so very, very strong magic phase there. Order of the Fiery Heart, and again, look, Curse of Lycanthropy, so yay! And then we've got a Commander BSB, Queen's Companion, War Banner of Rima, which is pretty cheeky, I think. However, he doesn't have much in terms of the way of protection. So I think that's the one downfall of this little unit here. We got 29 Sea Guard with the Navigator's Banner, so they get First Strike, 5-up Aegis, I believe. Or whatever that banner gives them. It's like a 5-up Aegis in the first round of combat. 6 Highborn Lancers for scoring purposes and maybe some cheeky counter charges. 5 Elaine Reavers for chaff with a musician. 2 units of Knights of Rima, 1 with a War Banner of Rima, so their charge is now 10. Charge 10 is nuts. Just like my Threshing Engines. And then another unit of Stalker Standard Rima. We got 20 Queen's Guard with the Banner of Becalming, so he's always stealing a a veil for me, and then we got 6 Grey Watchers with shields. So those are Jimmick's Highborn Elves, and I think both of our lists has tools for each other to deal with each other's lists, but I'm curious to see how it all plays out. All right, for our pregame settings, we randomized, and I guess we got map ETC3, which is fine. Frontline Clash, Forge and Plunder was our primary, so basically we had our only options were literally these 3 terrain pieces. So there you have it. And we both, our secondaries were both Master the Veil here. I think both of us, I think, have I think we'll have an interesting time, like, getting our casters to the middle. And yeah, I think Forge and Plunder, it's going to be I think he probably has the advantage on the primary, just given his mobility and his ability to zone my units, but at the same time, I have some pretty tanky units that might be able to take a charge. We'll see. But yeah, from left to right here, we got the Eidolons, Kulima right here. I decided to forego this Forge and Plunder, just because I just figured, like, Knights of the Rima with Stalker standard here, it makes sense, put them in the trees, then get them up here to plunder this. So I just said, screw it, I'm going to forego this with a scoring unit and just use this space here with the house in my deployment zone just to have a unit that can deal with this unit across here. So then I got the oh my god, Hoarders. Hoarders are here. They are actually Strider, which is pretty, this is good for them. So I think surprise, I think I actually forgot that they were Strider, so I might have penalized myself for the not having 2 ranks into the water, but oh well, such is life. Small unit succubi, big unit succubi with the Kalima right here. We have the Lemures with the Hope Harvester. We have the Hellhounds and then the Threshing Engines. We got the Queen's Guard over here with the BSB. We got the Elaine Reavers. We got 6 Lancers ready to plunder this objective. Here's the Knights of Rima with the War Banner of Rhina. Here's the Sea Guard with both of his mages, and then here's the Stalker Standard Rima, and then here are the 6 Scouting Grey Watchers. Alright, so for my turn 1, I was having just a lot of glitches on this. I was using the web version of Warhall, which I've now corrected, and I'm switching over to desktop, but I was having so many glitches with, like, it was locked even though the thing was unclicked and not locked, so, like, I couldn't move my units and couldn't move my spells, and then it was strange. So this is a kind of a wonky setup here, but basically I just pushed this unit here, giving him an automatic charge because of the War Banner of Rima here, I think, or maybe he needed a 2 or a 3. I can't remember. It was close, but regardless, I just said, you know what? If you charge your Queen's Guard here, they're going to be locked up here for a turn. They're not shooting, which is most important. And this unit has a total of 4, 8, 12 hit points. I do have a banner here, so if 2 of these chariots can hopefully survive, I can actually do some grinding onto this unit. And my whole purpose of giving him this option to charge is to draw him away from his primary, because my overall plan is to actually sneak these guys up here because they're actually they're mobility 6 now, so I can actually get right on top of this and just say, like, you know what, screw it, I'm going to take a charge from your Lancers and I'm going to plunder this with you. And then throw the Hellhounds in there to just intercept anything that's going to end, because I have a feeling he's not going to charge the Hellhounds. Like, that would be kind of pointless. So I'm giving him this unit. You could argue that I probably don't need to do this, but in the bigger scheme of things, I want to see if my opponent will take the charge. This guy they move up to shoot at the Reavers. This movement, again, like, just kind of a wonky formation here. I was doing my best, but just receiving some cover outside of charge range from these guys. These guys I tow into the water, trying to draw out a charge here. And then I move the Eidolons up as such. I'm outside of range. My opponent deployed in a way where I can't get within range of the Knights of Rima, but that's okay. I'm just going to focus my efforts onto this unit here. And this unit does not have a Stalker standard, so he goes in, he's going to take some DTs, he's not going to get his rank bonuses, so I want to see if the Hoarders can stand up to a Rima charge. They do have parry, as well. So I have that going for me too. Anyway, magic. I get off a Fate's Judgment on this unit, kill like 2 or 3. I get off a Spear of Infinity on this unit. I kill one or 2 from this unit possibly, and then I get off an Evil Eye here onto this unit, and my opponent stops an Evil Eye from this Kalima onto his Queensguard here. And then in shooting, I take out the Grey Watchers, no problem. Alright, so my opponent takes the bait. He does charge the threshing engines. Again, probably not a good use of the threshing engines, but like I said, it's drawing the Queensguard away from this objective. Now I can turn and shoot them, or I can make the decision to get up onto the objective. So, yep, he brings out the Reavers like so, just to face out this way in case my dogs want to do anything. He does take the charge. This one he needed a 4, and he does make it with the Evil Eye. So he does lose 2 from dangerous terrain, which is good for me. And then he just moves up the Rima Knights to threaten my Eidolons, and he has them positioned in a way where I cannot march outside of his line of sight unless I get like a Dance Macabre up or something. So magic, let's see, magic, I stop living steel onto the Knights of Rima to give them +1 to hit, and he gets off an Ice and Fire onto the Eidolons, only kills 1, luckily for me, and then he does not get his Hereditary up, I don't believe. What else? Shooting, he shoots some bows into the Succubi unit and kills 3 of them. In combat, so this is pretty wild, he doesn't do enough to kill 2 models, so I still have 2 models left, and I, like, my goodness, these, like, each model has, like, a bunch of attacks with +1 to hit, +1 to wound against the Queensguard, and so, like, I clear out a good number of them myself, but with all the static combat res, I crumbled down to 1 model with 1 wound remaining, and for me, that's still kind of a win. I take it, because now that unit is stuck for another turn in combat, and he's going to have to turn to face. He can't countercharge me if he turns, and so now the Queensguard are kind of weirdly in this like weird little no man's land spot here. So I'm happy about that. Here, I lose, after Crumble, I lose 2 models, but the Hoarders stick and do their job. That's all I needed them to do. My opponent gets a little unlucky and actually fails another armor save here as well. So Hoarders are doing their job, and yeah, now I've set myself up for a nice juicy countercharge with my Succubi into the Knights of Rima, and hopefully we'll clear them out. Alright, my turn 2. I do exactly as I said. I charge the Succubi into the flank of this unit here. So that should be good for me. I just move up the Eidolons in a way, saying, like, you know what? Like, I'm going to do as much damage to you as possible onto this Rima Knight unit, and hopefully I can whittle the unit down so that they aren't really combat effective, and then I still got a Kalima's Deceiver in here, so at the end of the day, like, the Kalima can hopefully deal with whatever is remaining. I march up the Lemures with the Hope Harvester and just put myself right onto that objective. I chaff the Knights with the dogs, so I'm happy about that. Don't really care if the dogs die. And yeah, here we're all stuck, so I'm thankful about that. And yeah, in the magic phase, I get off let's see, what do I get off? So I get off 1 Smite the Unbeliever onto this unit here. I think I also get off a -1 Resilience onto the Knights of Rima. And then a combination of the Smite I pop my breath weapon, Hellish Larynx, and then all the shots into this unit, delete it. So no more Knights of Rima. So that is fantastic. In the combat, yeah, I do die to the Queen's Guard, but I'm okay with that right now. And here I kill enough so that it's down to one model. He breaks, and so I have the Hoarders just chase to overrun. Yeah, he's decimated, but I think you can still, since he's still breaking from combat, I'm still having him run from the Hoarders. So I'm just trying to get the Hoarders close, right in front of the Sea Guard, hopefully, to block them up from getting to this middle objective here. So that was my intention there, and then I just reformed the Succubi with the Kalima. So we're good to go there. Alright, my opponent's turn 2. He charges the Lancers into the dogs here. Trying to make it so that I don't have a counter charge. Like he chaffs up the Lemures with the Reavers. And just trying to set himself up for a future plunder here. However, I think he could have probably done this so that he could have hung off onto this side and then plunder it on his next turn, depending on what happens with the dog situation. He just reforms the Queen's Guard to look like so, to threaten the flank of the Lemures, and then his Sea Guard just back up at this rate. Shooting goes into the Succubi. Oh, actually, no. So the Queen's Guard here shoot into the Succubi. I think they kill maybe 4 or 5. And then he starts putting shots into the Hoarders, and so he puts 2 wounds onto the Hoarders. I let go in Ice and Fire, but stop other spells. And there you have it. Oh, I remember. He got off Living Steel onto this unit in case I wanted to charge the Hoarders. In combat, he kind of flubs here. The Lancers kind of disappoint me. I don't know. I've seen them charge in many games, and sometimes they've just like completely whiff. But he kills like 1 or 2 dogs. I actually get in like 2 lethal strikes onto the unit, which is pretty tasty. And then unfortunately the dogs still fail their leadership, so I crumble, but I crumble down to 1 dog. And so right now it kind of it keeps this unit here for a turn, which is nice. So my turn 3, I start to plunder, so I plunder this unit here, and I plunder the middle, not that unit, the hill, and I plunder the water. Great. Let's see, I move up the Hoarders just to block his Sea Guard from coming in. And then I turn to face the Lemures just so that the Lancers and the Queen's Guard are in my front. And then I start putting magic into this unit here. A combination of magic and shooting take down more of the Sea Guard, which is great. They take down, I think, the back rank, which is really nice. Then we also have shooting from the Aether Battery opens up and takes out a couple of Queen's Guard, which is also nice. And then, of course, you can see here my Succubi are coming over to support the Lemures and the impending charge that's probably going to happen onto the Lemures. So, yeah, that's how we're looking here. In combat, yes, he does kill the final dog, but ironically, I think I kill another Lancer, so there's only 3 left before the dog just crumbles. So good job, Hellhounds. But yeah, that's basically it for my turn 3. So on my opponent's turn, he does charge the Lemures with the Queen's Guard. Okay, got it. He moves over the Lancers to threaten my flank and to add combat resolution. So then he chaffs my Succubi in case I wanted to charge a combo with the Hoarders and the Succubi. Oh, and I did get a Dance Macabre up onto the Hoarders here in my previous turn, so I just moved them away so that if he does charge in, it's presenting me, hopefully, a flank if the Hoarders are still there, by the time I get into them. But he chooses to not charge, and he still wants to continue to whittle down the Succubi. So, let's see. Now he does get up Favor of Melodis. Unfortunately, I'm unable to stop this spell. So he does get off the hereditary up, and he does get off a living steel as well up onto the Queen's Guard. So they're hitting on 2s, wounding me on 4s because they're strength 5 on the charge. But yeah, so in shooting, he doesn't really do anything to the succubi. He kind of missed this time. And in combat, he does actually, this was a little surprising, but he does actually crumble the unit down, so that the Hope Harvester is the only thing that's left after everything is said and done. But that's still good for me because it means, again, the Queen's Guard are blocked up for another turn, and now my succubi have a charge onto his Queen's Guard. So I'm happy about that overall. Okay, so the Khalim and the succubi have to eat the chaff now. This I'm curious to see how it goes, but I choose to charge the hoarders into the Sea Guard. I'm like sure I'm not going to win that, but I'm hoping to have models here left so that I can then countercharge with the succubi and the my plan here is to get the Khalim in a way where I can countercharge out into his flank or something to that nature. So I can have 2 Khalimas into the combat along with all that succubi into a Sea Guard to hopefully just clean them up at the end. And yeah, I do get up a Whispers of the Veil onto the Sea Guard unit, which is nice. And then I also get up an Evil Eye onto this Queen's Guard unit. So now that, let's see, does it mean they're striking Simo? Yes, they would be striking simultaneous now with the succubi because of agility 7 with spears going back down to 6. The succubi charge, so they go to 6. So that's important here. And then there's nothing to really shoot. So in combat, I do quite a lot to this Queen's Guard unit, which is really nice with the succubi, like +1 to hit, +1 to wound onto the Queen's Guard. Even with only 3 with like 1, 2, with these models here, I can still like whittle down this unit quite a fair bit. So that's looking great for me. So all of a sudden, this Queen's Guard unit is in trouble. I do clear out the chaff here, and then as a surprise, because he saved his Favor of Melodies to prevent wounds coming onto this unit. So with all the static combat res from the Sea Guard, and they just like completely pop the hoarders. Like that was a surprise. Like, woo. Like he's hitting on 4s, wounding me on with press of ranks. He's hitting me on 4s, wounding me on 5s, and he just went to town and just blew up the unit. So I was very surprised about that one. Okay, so he countercharges now with the Lancers. As you can see, the Queen's Guard just got eviscerated by the succubi, which is great. So now it's just the BSB and this countercharge here with the Lancers. And so now he's backing up the Sea Guard to try and deal with the, oh god, whatever you call it, the Eidolons and the succubi here. He gets off again another Favor of Melodies, which sucks. Damn, Highborn Elf Hereditary. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, shooting kills another, back rank of succubi. So I'm getting whittled down pretty hard here. So in combat, this is pretty wild. I do crumble down, like he does finally crumble the Hope Harvester, but here I am, here I'm still, his BSB also, I think his BSB just whiffed, like completely whiffed, and so I still, after everything is said and done, I have 3 succubi units remaining, which is huge. So this is a combination of, this is a combination of both my turn 5 and his turn 5. And so, yeah. Oh, right. And the reason why I had the two, it went from 5 down to 2 is because I was still, whichever one I had more ranks than my opponent, so I could only ever lose that combat by a maximum of -2. So I still failed my leadership check, but then I just crumbled 2. So that's why these succubi are still here, which is fantastic. And then again, that's just because the BSB just totally whiffed. So in my turn 5, instead of charging and taking a stand and shoot to the Sea Guard, I ended up deciding to not charge this unit here. Oh yeah, he got Wheel and Woe up on me last turn anyway, so I'd be a -1 to wound. So I decided to just march up and just block him in, and saying, you got one more turn to deal with this succubi, and I know even with just like a handful of succubi, I can really do some work onto infantry, which is pretty awesome. Plus with Kalima's, I moved this unit to be in their flank. This Kalima, I couldn't figure out how to like lock him into place over here but this is where this Kalima should be. I pointed that out to my opponent. So in my turn with shooting, I am able to, with magic and shooting, I am able to whittle down some more Sea Guard. And so I think he does end up using his Favor of Melodies to save some models here. But in so doing, all of a sudden the succubi the BSB whiffs again, and the one remaining succubi punks the BSB. Like, that was completely wild. Like, that was just dice. Like, there's nothing else to describe that. But that BSB also doesn't have any real form of protection. So 3 hits, or I think the BSB took a wound on him last time, so he had 2. So he has 2 wounds left, and the succubi snuck in the last 2 wounds before she died. So that's big. And what it also means is that now my opponent is too far away to get into this terrain feature. He's like 19 inches away, and this unit can only march 18 inches. So this is again a big turning point, and basically secures me the primary objective here. So you can also see in my opponent's turn 5, he jumped out. This is the mage with the gleaming or glittering road, whatever it's called. So that's the one with the 3-up Aegis save, and this is the Cosmo one right here. So he's prepping this mage to get into the center of the board, so I do have to do something about that. In his turn, he again gets up Favor of Melodies. I can't stop it. And then he whittles down the succubi again. So on my turn 6, I charge in with the remaining succubi and both Kalimas, which is going to be hopefully great. And then we have the 2, or sorry, not 2. Then we have the Eidolons are going to hopefully try and magic missile off / shoot this sorcerer. I was debating on either going for the Lancers or for this, but I think this is worth more points and prevents his secondary. So this is the unit that I at least need to try and kill. My opponent lets go Smite the Unbeliever from these guys onto the Wizard, and I actually sneak through 2 wounds. He fails his Aegis saves, and then shooting takes him out. So he failed his final save. So that's huge. That's a big swing of points. That's a lot of magic support, and it prevents his secondary. Then in combat, he has the Favor of Melodies off, which is really saving him now. And then he also has a 5-up Aegis save. So I do thin out the Sea Guard quite a bit. However, there's still quite a lot there because of that a combination of the Aegis save and the Favor of Melodies. So he's still looking pretty good. He doesn't do too much back to the succubi in return. I lose, I think, 3 models. So all in all, this unit is still locked up, which is fantastic. And then I also reform in a way to put the Kalima over onto this side right here, so that if he does charge in with the Lancers, I'm going to be gaining +2 attacks coming in for the Kalima to hopefully shred the unit. Okay, so my opponent's turn 6. He moves over the Cosmo Mage here. He then, of course, as you can see, he charges the flank of the Succubi. Now the Kalima again should be right here. I was just struggling with this stupid program to like get it to lock. So we knew where the Kalima was. Magic, nothing. Magic, I basically stop the favor of Melodis. And so I am able to whittle down the Seaguard. He does eventually get the Succubi. He does pop the Succubi unit themselves, but what he doesn't do is he doesn't get either of the Kalimas. So by the end of the game, he just has 8 Seaguard left, and he has 2 Lancers and the Mage left, and then I have both my Kalimas left and the Eidolons. Alright, and with that, it is a 13-7 win to the Demons with the primary, so 10-10 on points, and then, yeah, that primary just tipped it over the top. So thank you so much, Rosmik, for the game. I really appreciate it and making the time. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. I can't wait for the next one. I'm sure you will repay the favor. And yeah, great fun, great opponent, and I'm pretty happy overall with the result, not gonna lie. So a lot of stuff died, so as expected, but yeah, overall, thank you so much. So yeah, post-game thoughts here. I was happy to, I think my plan was to draw out some of the tools that would be good against me and see if I can get them into an unfavorable engagement. So for example, with the Rymanites charging into the Hoarders, especially through the water terrain, I think that was just perhaps a mistake by my opponent there. But regardless, I think it still kind of put pressure on him to deal with some of my tougher units, while at the same time, I was kind of controlling the primary at that rate. So I felt like overall, you can make the argument that I could have changed my deployment differently and have approached the primary differently. However, at the same time, I kind of am happy with how I approached it because of the space I had with that impassable and the fact that ruins was the closest primary to me, and I think any other unit across from that Ryman Knights unit with the Stalker standard just wouldn't have been a good fit to try and tackle that primary. I think I would have lost that, to be honest. So having the Eidolons there on that side, I think really set me up to kind of control the primary as well. So, like I said, into the micro things, I think it was a mistake for my opponent to charge the Hoarders, but then, yeah, again, with the Threshing Engines Lemure situation, I think for me, even though it cost me those units, it still allowed me to control the primary and to take the Queen's Guard out of the match. Effectively out of the match, because I was able to pounce on them, drawing them out away from guarding that hill. So I was really actually kind of overall happy with that. Perhaps a better player could have done a better job at saving points, but hey, in this case, I'm happy with the end result on my end. Eidolons and the Kalima are just, they are a nasty combination. Oh my goodness. But that is also a very expensive unit. That's almost 1,000 points right there. So they should be able to take out a heavily armored knight unit, I think, fairly easily. So given the fact that there's so many more points than those Ryman Knights, I think it's a bit expected. And they are the exact tool to deal with units like that anyway. So I think I made the pretty big mistake here in terms of charging my Hoarders into a Seaguard. Like, Seaguard just... Psh, good God. I thought the Hoarders were at least going to survive a turn, but no. Like, he just popped me. And that cost me kind of some board position and cost me a round of shooting for Succubi, like the Seaguard into the Succubi. So I think the better play would have been to have just put the Hoarders right in front of the Seaguard for another turn to kind of block them from getting to the Succubi anyway. And then kind of combo charging at the end. So I think that was where I kind of made a tactical error there. Yeah, I'm sure, like, with the threshing engine thing, I probably could have got, I would have easily been a threat to the Queen's Guard and not given them a charge, because threshing engines are charge 10. But my concern was that he was just going to shoot me and then chaff me and then shoot me again. And he had his, like, counter charge up with his other knights, his silver helms, or Highborn Lancers, that's what they're called. So, like, I just saw it as, like, you know what, let's just draw those Queen's Guard out, and see what happens. So, it ended up kind of turning around into my favor, but I'm not sure if that was really the correct decision there. But anyways, there you have it. And, as always, thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, don't forget to like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Thanks again to my opponent, Rizmik. I apologize if I'm butchering your name, but I'm doing my best. And looking forward to the next one. But yeah, always you can reach out to me either in the YouTube comments, or you can hit me up on the forum, CHTAY001, if you want to schedule in a Warhall game with me from wherever you are around the world. And wishing everyone the best and happy wargaming. Ciao, ciao for now, y'all.